In this video, I'm going to share with you how to correctly monetize a standby letter of credit. My name is Taimour Zaman. For years, I've been a real estate investor. I then got into a company called 8 Billion of Innovation, which I still run as a pure VC, venture capital firm. From there, I got into lots of real estate investing, technology investing, and so on. But as an international investor, I started to learn how to get lines of credit and loans from multiple banks around multiple different geographies. I then discovered something called private placements and how to participate in private placements. From there, I learned SBLCs, how to liquidate, monetize SBLCs. My firm today does a very sophisticated, complicated things such as mirroring of funds from one institution in one geography into another institution into a different legal jurisdiction altogether, and it's a very sophisticated kind of a thing that we do. So we're very creative financiers. We have, I like to think we have a brand. If you Google lineofcredit.ai, I think you'll see lots and lots of press releases, media releases about us and the things that we've committed to do in the world. I think we've got a little bit of a brand, a lot of experience, and a lot of scars to prove that we have experience. So that's a little bit about lineofcredit.ai. But I'd like to think we're one of the top 5% consulting firms, or specifically private equity firms, that knows a couple of things about monetizing SBLCs, issuing SBLCs, monetizing them, liquidating them, and just leveraging SBLCs in various ways. So I'm going to start with what is a standby letter of credit. I think the Google answer is just a letter of credit that you get from a bank, and that's really awesome. I'm going to give you a story because I think people understand stories and analogies a lot better. In 2020, in March of 2020, oil prices had hit a negative territory. Producers would be paying people like you and I money to store oil because they had to manufacture oil. Like they had to, you can't stop the oil from coming out. And if there's negative territory, you need to be able to figure out how to pay people to store it for you. So very, this is a true story. A very wealthy individual who's a client of one of our attorneys decided that he had the money to store the oil for a period of time, knowing that prices will eventually go up, and then he will flip the oil and make a profit out of it. For him to get into his business, he needs to buy a storage tanker, and this particular storage tanker is $25 million. And in his research, he determined the vendor for him was a company in South Africa that was at the time manufacturing oil tankers for $25 million. So he placed the order, and now he's got an order with with somebody in South Africa to buy a storage tanker for $25 million. Now here's the places that I invite you to think from. If you are that particular person, the guy who wants to buy a $25 million storage tanker, you're not going to give a stranger you've never met in South Africa, you're not going to prepay them $25 million. If you most people just would not do that. Now, if you're in the South African business owner, you're not going to build a storage tanker for $25 million, hoping, praying that when it hits the dock of the client's wherever it needs to go to, that client's going to give you $25 million. What happens if the client can't afford it? What happens if the client takes off? What happens? Like, there's just lots of variables on it. So the seller's not going to send it to you if you somehow doesn't get paid. The buyer's not going to pay for it until they don't get it. So standby letter of credit, the short form for it's called SBLC, solves that issue. What the buyer needs to do is they contact their bank. So I'm going to give you an analogy. Let's say you've got $1 billion cash in your bank account. You tell your bank to give you a standby letter of credit for $25 million. So what they do is they freeze $25 million in your bank account. So it's $25 million that cannot move, cannot go anywhere. And what they do is they issue a piece of paper. The buyer of the storage tanker needs to make the seller, the guy in South Africa, the beneficiary of the SBLC. And so now the seller has assurance that he can that A, the buyer has the money for it, and B, they can build the container, ship it, send it to him. But if the buyer doesn't want to pay you when it gets there, all you have to do is take the piece of paper and go to your bank and show them the SBLC and say, I want the cash, please. And by law, the bank then has to give you $25 million cash for that same amount of credit. That's SBLC in a nutshell, in a true story that I hope it kind of communicates the value of the same amount of credit and how it's being leveraged today. Primarily, it's big in the commodity industry. If you're a commodity broker or you know commodity brokers, SBLC is a kind of a day-to-day thing they do. So different ways of monetizing a same amount of credit. So if you're now the South African guy, you have a couple of options. First option is do nothing. But over time, smarter beneficiaries of SBLCs will discover that they can monetize standby hours of credit. So it's, generally speaking, there's two ways of monetizing it. One is you can get a loan against it. So let's imagine that you are the business owner who's got the $25 million standby of credit, and now you've got to manufacture a container. You probably need raw materials, you need whatever, so you need cash, so you need money. So now how can you take a piece of paper, turn it into cash, build a product, send it to a client, and make a profit out of it? So getting a loan from a SMLF credit is a common thing people do. Now the most trendy thing people do is that somehow a lot of people hear about something called private placement programs. The other word for it is called trade, and they want to put their SBLCs into a trade or a private placement program. So those are two ways to monetize SBLC. And in this video, I want to share with you how to do them correctly. Now, there's some factors involved in how to monetize SBLC. The first factor that's involved is who's the issuing bank. If your issuing bank is one of the top 25 banks in the world, let's say Barclays, the perceived value and the real value of the SBLC is a lot higher than if you're the no-name bank in Africa as a comparison. So who's the issuing bank has a lot more value than the no-name bank. The next one is the city in which that issuing bank is issuing this amount of credit. So if you get an SBLC from HSBC London, the value is higher than if it was HSBC Hong Kong, as an example. And that's simply because there's a lot of fraudulent paper that's coming from Asia, and so the city that issues the SBLC also has a lot of value to the true value of the SBLC. Next one is what's the face value? Is it $50 million or is it $150 million? So the face value also makes a difference on how much cash you're going to get out of it. And then it's the language in use. Is it cash back? Are you leasing the instrument? Is it a callback? I mean, is it MT660? Is it MT70? The language in use in the standby of credit also makes a massive difference in how in what the true value of the instrument is. If you want to get a loan, what you want to do is you want to make a call to a bunch of banks. You want to see who will give you the highest amount of loan to value. Depending on how much capital you need, you may need to also put up additional assets. You may need to buy insurance on the SBLC. There's lots of small things you need to do for you to get a loan on it, but generally speaking, you want to pick up the bank. You want to pick up the phone, call a bunch of banks and see who's going to give you the highest loan to value, and then what do they need for them to do the deal today? That's the question I ask when I call banks is, what do you need for you to do the deal today? One question I get a lot is how can lineofcredit.ai help organizations in this area? So one is that we shop around to lots of banks. We know who to contact. We don't call the call center saying who's in charge of monetizing SBLCs or liquidating SBLCs or buying SBLCs. When we call HSBC, Barclays, or whoever we contact, we know the name of the individuals that we need to ask for. So we know how to monetize the SBLC in terms of if you're looking to get a loan. The one reason people choose us is our fees are higher. I'm very proud of the fact that our fees are higher, and if I ever find a private equity firm or competitor charging our fees, I will then increase our fees. And that's just my business rule of thumb. We've got lots of years of experience. I have the scars to prove it. So I wanna charge a premium price in the marketplace that attracts a certain community to me, and that certainly also does not attract a certain community to me. It just works for me and my business. We typically go to tier A, tier B institutions. I'm not going to mom-pop shops. We go to private equity firms. Generally speaking, our relationships and knowing who to go to, we can get a far better, higher loan to value than our clients can. Most of our clients contact their bank. At best, they contact their bank. Second thing they do is they may take the effort to try to find a broker. Third thing they do is then they try to contact a bunch of banks themselves. With us, I know who to contact. It's not my first rodeo show. I can do something really well, really effective, really quick happen. And then we have ability. I think we've demonstrated credibility and experience in the marketplace. Typically, those are reasons why people choose us if they want to get a loan on their SBLC. Now, another popular thing that people do is they do private placements. They hear about a trading platform. They're new to trading platforms. Most of the people who call me are new to private placements. They heard about it from what I call a joker broker. Then they go on YouTube and they get all this conflicting information, which is not good. And so what you have to do if you want to put your SBLC into trade, hopefully you've got some joker broker told you about a private placement program or a capital enhancer. Most people don't know what a capital enhancer is. If you've got a $50 million SBLC, you go to a private placement program. But if you've got a $180 million SBLC, then you might be interested in capital enhancer. A capital enhancer guarantees its performance versus a private placement is generally speaking they're on best effort basis. The private placement trade business, 99.999% are fraudulent actors. It's 99.999% of them are fraudulent activities. It's a big gamut of fraudulent people. You may come across a broker, or you may cross across 5 brokers. They may seem like a very nice bunch of people to work with, and their relationship, they think they have a relationship with a trading platform, but they've got a relationship with a broker. None of them want to give you references. It's some kind of a secret club. There's other videos. The one thing I'll tell you is the other videos on YouTube. Where's the secret club? And I want to tell you that piece of it is actually true. That's the one comment I'll say is true. And then, obviously there's lots of frauds. We recommend for you to have an experienced attorney to represent you. It makes a massive difference if you have experience, not a junior attorney representing you if you want to go into trade. And then you want to take your SBLC, your MTN note, whatever it is you got. You want to find a trusted vendor. This is not us. This is not what we do. We know who to go to, but it's not what we do. But if you want to go into a trade with SBLC, you need somebody who can monetize it and trade it. So remember, you're looking for someone who can monetize it and trade it. It's a nightmare trying to monetize. A lot of people, everybody on the planet can monetize it, but not everybody on the planet can put into a private placement program. And if this is your first rodeo show, my invitation is to look for a credible partner who's a monetizer and can put it into a trading platform. So don't go to 5 people trying to monetize it and then trying to find a private placement person to put it into trade. It's you'll be sorry to do that. From my experience, I can just say, don't do that. Not good. Find somebody who can do 2 in 1, and then you want to find a reputable one. I want to tell you from our years of experience, the reputable ones who can monetize and trade, there's less than 5 of them. Less than 5 of them who can actually do that. Fortunately or unfortunately, we know who they are. So a question I ask as well, how can line of credit help? Well, one of them is if you look up our YouTube channel, if you go on our website, you may notice that we work with former FBI, former CIA agents, and we vet private placement programs that you have picked. So if you've picked a private placement company that you want to put your SBLC into trade, people hire us and my firm to vet out the joker brokers, the actors, the whoever these people are to make sure that they're real. I can give you nightmare after nightmare after nightmare stories, and program director checked out, but the paymaster was a fraud artist, one of the most, like, not most wanted by FBI, but he was like kind of like up there, and he was a paymaster. I can go on with lots of, we have lots of horror stories that I'm not going to share here because not the intention of this. But we have the ability. I used former FBI and former CIA agents to do it at the private placement organization and the broker. We know 9 specific questions to ask these people, such as show me your level 8 license. That very quickly eliminates any of the fraudulent actors that are there. If you don't have an attorney, we know lots of attorneys who've gone into private placements. Attorneys could be a good thing if you got the right guy. This is not I wouldn't go to your I don't know, I wouldn't go to a divorce attorney to ask them to help you with a private placement. Like, a divorce attorney wouldn't know what to do with this. So a lot of attorneys can hinder the process. And if you've got a good attorney who understands what a private placement is, has taken other clients into private placements, it makes a significant big difference for you, and it's worth the money and the investment to that attorney. And then you put your SBLC, your note, with an account that gets monetized, gets liquidated, and then that liquid goes into trade, it gets blocked and goes into trade. The things that we do in private placement for our clients is pretty awesome. We help our clients get the FBI people, catch the bad guys. We recommend alternative private placement programs as a way for you to diversify your strategy. So if you have, for lack of a better word, 50 million bucks, why would you want to put off them in one private placement program? What if I could introduce you to 2 that I personally use, or have other clients who've used that also pay out for you to put your money into 2 other ones for you to make sure that you get the results you're looking for, kind of thing. And then we can introduce you to clients that or we can introduce law firms who've helped us or other clients going through a trade, as well as we can also provide you with a loan. LineCredit.ai is, remember, we are lending debt equity kind of organization, so we can provide the financial support you're looking for should you want to go into trade. My name is Taimour Zaman. I am LineCredit.ai, published author. Feel free to Google me, search me, look me up on LinkedIn, look at my references, videos, testimonials, all that. And I look forward to the opportunity of working with you.